Hello again, and welcome to the first episode of COVID AV. I just wanted to jump on real quick and say thank you to everyone who has supported or followed me along in the short journey that I've been on so far and of Season Media. Um, this episode, I'm interviewing Dan Bamber, who I met through another friend in the audiovisual industry, and I thought it'd be really cool to get some input from someone not in the US for the first episode. So I really hope you enjoy and stay tuned for all the cool stuff I have coming up, and make sure you follow me on all my social media pages. Thanks again. Peace. So you have been in the industry, from what I read, for about 12 years or so, primarily audio, I think.
Primarily audio, moving into project management, but as well as doing audio on the first, well, probably 10 years of my role. Kind of after 6 years, kind of started having to do lights as well for some shows, and then video for other shows, and then became all rounder, and then project manager now as well and stuff, or was 6 months ago, 7 months ago. Crazy.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I guess why don't you start just telling everyone like kind of what got you interested and like how you made it into this crazy world that we call audiovisual.
Yeah, man. So I went to school like everyone else. I did music technology at AS and A level, which is kind of like our last part of the school. So I did that, chemistry, physics, maths, and product design, which is like woodwork, metalwork, plastic work and stuff, graphic design and stuff. So I really loved music technology, which was kind of recording bands, using Reason, if you've used that. So like MIDI creating stuff. Got into, like everyone kind of in this industry seems to get into like doing their school concerts. So I started off like moving mic stands on stage first couple of years, moved on to doing sound the last couple of years, then moved on to do live sound at college. And that was at Nexus in Coventry. So I did live sound and theology, which is a bit of a crazy combination.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I don't really hear of that anymore, or very much at all. So they, at the time when I went, they weren't fully accredited as a uni, but they are now. So I think they call it Popular Music and Worship or something. Quote me on that, but yeah, Nexus in Coventry. There's a similar one in the US somewhere, which kind of all based off the same thing. But so that half the year we spent, well, half the semesters we spent doing Bible work and stuff relating to music, so like worship, and half it we spent learning about sound, and people were there learning about how to play guitar and play drums and stuff. Out of that place, there's been some great techs, some great musicians. And moved on from there after doing my few years up to Manchester. So that's about 2.5 hours further north in the UK. And basically, I came from Leicester, which is pretty central to the UK. And there's just not a massive live sound scene there. There's not a massive AV install market there. There's a few guys who kind of do a load of stuff. And then there's kind of like this Asian wedding market as well. And so I'm the wrong ethnicity to be in that market, which is fine. So I moved to Manchester and never looked back. So that was probably 2011. And yeah, been up here ever since, freelancing, and love it. Done massive shows, done tiny shows, TV production, everything.
What are like, you would say, the 3 shows or like events you've done where you were like, all right, I've made it. I'm in it. Like this is what I want to do. Like, was there like a moment that like it was like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll just tilt the camera up a bit for you. So I kind of got a million lanyards up here that you can kind of see. So I kind of keep them as like a record of all my gigs I've done. So there's some really cool ones up there, like I've done the Conservative, Lib Dem and Labour Party, so the 3 main political conferences in the UK. I've done sound on all of them, which not very many people have because they're all different companies and stuff. I've done some massive like rock and roll shows, like 3,200
Oh
seater
wow.
venues that are packed out and stuff. I prefer doing monitors versus front of house, so I kind of get like 10 mixes each for one person rather than one mix for 10,000 or
Yeah.
2,500 people. But I find that more engaging. More have to be on your toes and keep a checking. Whereas,
No, for sure.
what else have I done that's been cool? Some like massive sporting events for like Man United, Man City, other ones like the England netball team. They had me doing all the stuff that was at the World Cup but wasn't in the main arena. So I was kind of on site doing all their like breakout spaces, training rooms and stuff.
Okay.
So I've been everywhere, doing everything all around the UK and Europe, from t-shirt printing exhibitions to netball World Cups to live music to Labour
Yeah.
and political party conferences and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. You do realize, like, once you get into like the events industry, they literally have events for everything. Like,
Exactly. I did the packaging expo at the NEC, which is like a massive exhibition centre in Birmingham, and they have a seminar on the keynote stage presented by a German about fonts that they need to put on the cardboard boxes coming out of Germany. So what fonts to use to style this way up, etc. How big the German version of that language of the language that says fragile should be versus the French one, the English one, etc., the Spanish
yeah.
one. It was just like it was packed out, probably 600-seater little keynote theatre in an exhibition hall, packed out for this German guy to just tell us about like fonts to use and like sizes of fonts and stuff for a
Yeah.
box. So yeah, things like that do exist, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely mind blowing, and it's like it's one of the things I've noticed. I'm like, there's an organization for anything you can think of, and they have an event for anything you can think of. Like it's definitely like you it's hard to get bored. I feel like even though like once you've been in it for a while, you start to do like the same setups, and you get into like patterns and things like that. The events, like the type of event and like the subject is always changing, so it kind of always keeps you on your toes a little bit,
Yeah.
which is a great segue into, I guess, the whole reason that this series exists.
So,
How are you doing during COVID? Like, I guess like if we were to if you were to think about what you'd be doing right now if COVID wasn't happening, what would like your day to day look like on like any given like day?
So I so during lockdown it's been crazy. I mean, I did probably 3 months of YouTube right at the beginning of it, then got pretty depressed to be honest, and like
Yeah.
like I guess everyone kind of has, and then like have kind of pulled myself out of it, and I'm now doing delivery driving for like a firm over here, a bit like Amazon. Van full of parcels and deliver them, which is exhausting. It's like 12-hour days.
Yeah.
If you get back early, they'll just send you out on another one. It's crazy. But last year, I was doing like touring and like on monitors on shows and stuff for like 3,000 people. And it's just like this year I'm doing this. Last year I was doing that. And this I work for a week and make £300, whereas last year I'd make that in a day.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely insane. Like I feel like I was semi like I guess not really lucky, but I moved to Florida with my fiance, and I was doing events out there, and COVID hit while we were out there. But we planned to come back at the end of our internship. So like my depression kind of hit right at the beginning because we had just moved to Florida. I was far away from all my family and stuff like that. So like then we got back and we got to move into a house, and I have a lot of like kind of like home repairs and stuff to do. So like I have lots of like things that I have to do to keep myself busy. which has been like, which has kind of helped me like get out of my funk a little bit, and like a good like support circle kind of helping me monetarily and mentally, you know. But it's a hard time for it, just the whole hospitality industry is pretty much in shambles at this point.
Yeah, I mean, my wife has been a duty manager of the local theatre for 2 years, 2.5 years now. Kind of worked away from like checking tickets and
Yeah,
popcorn at the end, all the way up to duty manager, and then this hit, and it's basically like, oh, she's exactly in the same boat as me. It's like we're both out of it.
yeah,
Like mental. But yeah, I mean, if it was a normal year, I was on track to make what 55k this year.
yeah.
This year I've made 4k max.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's a bit of a difference.
I mean, and 2.5k of that is from the government schemes. Like,
yeah.
it's just like, wow, it's different, isn't it? So
Yeah.
learning to get by on minimum wage and stuff is a massive learning curve, but not forever.
Oh no, I feel like the events industry will come back, and I asked this to a lot of people, like, so I personally feel like face to face, like the value of face to face events has actually gone up since COVID. It can't happen, but people I feel like really understand the importance and stuff of it. So I feel like when things are able to come back, I feel like the event industry will actually be bigger and stronger at that point.
Yeah, man.
But like, how like do you think when things come back, it's going to be like smaller events and more hybrid events? Do you think when things come back and like people can really come out, do you think the value is still going to be there for like the 2,000, 3,000 person events, or people are going to start scaling back?
I think it has to be there. I mean, so we were chatting about this on one of my engineer groups today. So they kind of do loads of exhibition work, and we were talking about if it all comes back, are they going to try and live stream every session from 6 theatres that are all going on simultaneously? How's the client going to pick up that budget? What happens if the venue doesn't decrease the internet prices and stuff? And it was really interesting conversation coming from our perspective, and like the clients, we know how much the client normally pays for internet and stuff.
Yeah.
And the tech aspect of it and how much that would be. And it's just not a viable thing, in my opinion, and in the group's opinion, to continue doing everything, sending everything out on or whatever. I mean, there'll be events going on for years to come that will be hybrid still. But I think things like live music will have to come back, because you just don't, I mean, one of my favorite bands, Hands Like Houses from Australia, they've done 2 live stream gigs onto YouTube during COVID. And it's been an awesome gig, because obviously they're in Australia. I can't see them regularly. When they do tour, they come to like 1 date or 2 dates in the UK.
Yeah.
It's been really cool to see them perform their new stuff and stuff. But in reality, they need to tour.
Yeah.
I'm sure they miss it as much as the techs do and stuff. But it's going to come back, and it's going to be awesome when it does.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. And I think the same. And even if you think about like the corporate environment, like the exhibitions and like conventions where you have all the booths, like to me, I like, even though I'm not a salesperson, I don't feel like the sell is made like necessarily on the floor. It's made in that face-to-face like cocktail hour or like something like that. And I feel like salesmen, especially because a lot of the people who are heavy in sales, I feel like are either our generation or older.
Yeah.
They grew up doing sales face to face. So like I feel like that's a whole new avenue, and I feel like I feel like a lot of companies are probably losing sales at this point without those events, and
Yeah.
being able to get that face-to-face time with like customers. So like I feel like it's gonna come back and come back big. It's hard to put a handle on timing. I'm hoping like kind of next spring we start to kind of, when it warms up, you kind of start to see things coming back. You see like maybe like a 300 to 500 person event that is hybrid also. So it's like you have your main people on site and then it's still broadcasted, but
Yeah.
I feel like you lose a lot of the exclusivity that like people like when you put it online in that way.
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously do things like monetize online tickets and stuff, or have like a password that you give out to a select few people to get
Mm.
stuff. But you're definitely right. I mean, there's a thing about like award shows. If it's limited to 150 people, you have to be specific about who you want to bring. Where
Yeah.
if it's online, anyone can kind of join and watch.
Mhm.
Almost detracts from it in a way, but in the same way, expands the audience that views it. For some charity stuff, that could be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I reckon for the next 2, maybe 4 years, we're going to be having hybrid events as a standard, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because I have a online streaming company, so hopefully
Oh.
so that's something that me and a freelancer have set up during COVID to hopefully mitigate some of the losses we've made and keep us working and fresh and relevant.
This is a nice segue into virtual events. What would you say is I guess, the biggest thing that people can learn, or like a few things as a technician who is looking for work that they can learn that can kind of help them maneuver into the virtual field when like needs get a little bit higher?
Sure. Well, I mean, there's some great courses that have been out there for years, like Dante, like audio over IP. So that's been used for years now. But so Dante levels 1, 2, and 3, I would recommend. I've done 1 and 2. I need to finish 3. And you could go into networking as well. The Cisco CCNA, which is kind of goes into subnets and stuff in a whole new way. Just because that kind of is where audio is heading. It's
Yeah.
the audio world, and learning how to run out hundreds of feet of copper is less relevant now, sadly. I mean, I love doing it, and I do love copper, but
Yeah.
having everything over like a Cat 5, Cat 7 now,
Yeah.
where it goes. So knowing your way around that. Things like vMix and OBS, so like streaming and like live broadcasting softwares. They both got free trials. vMix, I think, has got a 60-day free trial, and OBS is totally free. But things like that, great to learn, get your head around. Obviously, Zoom. I'm sure everyone knows how to use Zoom by now, but like, sadly, everyone knows how to use Zoom now.
Mhm.
Wirecast and stuff. Learn your way around the function keys and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm a big fan of Companion and the Stream Deck. Don't know whether you've come across them.
I have actually. I have.
Yeah, they're a must in the corporate world before COVID. So I was working on a job where I was doing sound. The guy next to me was doing video, lights, moving lights, hyperdeck recording, so from a camera, video switching and camera switching. And he had it all on a Stream Deck and then a PowerPoint clicker. And it literally had like a whole world of like 4 Macs, a Titan mobile with a thing, and it was just like everything all on this one thing, and it just like it blew my mind that he could do all that, and really pushed me to get into it more. So
Yeah.
on my channel about Companion and stuff that I recorded, and it's super useful to learn. It's pretty easy. There's loads of presets in there. You just kind of drag and drop them onto the buttons, and you can like have multiple things fire when you press one button, which is good to know. What else? Those are kind of the main ones for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've had to learn OBS some for cropping for different events and stuff like that. And it was funny too because it was very last minute and I had never used OBS,
Yeah,
but my buddy Andrew, he's a whiz in it. So like we did a Zoom call, he shared his screen and like we
yeah,
walked through just going over cropping and we've used it on probably 75% of our virtual events at this point. Even though we haven't found that perfect platform
no,
for events, I think there a lot of these companies are still getting used to it. And I think they're trying to up their game so that way it can handle the amount of work that they're getting. Because it used to be here and there,
yeah.
not professional stuff. And now we're pushing like multiple 4K cameras through and like yeah.
Poor OBS, such a
Yeah.
hard upgrade their systems from once in a while they got to upgrade it and now they're like, everyone's using our stuff. Must
Oh yeah.
Zoom and stuff. They must have like their shares must have gone through the roof.
Have you heard of Ninja, OBS Ninja?
No?
So there's a guy who's working on I guess like some sort of like plugin and he's kind of recoding OBS
Oh,
to
cool.
do virtual events where you can send someone a link
Yeah.
and their camera pops up as a source in your OBS. So
Nice.
you bypass Zoom.
Yes, that's what because we use vMix in my little company. And you can do vMix call and it basically you just open a web page, put in a login, and it will use your phone camera, your laptop camera, whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't dove into vMix too much, and I've my buddy has a Stream Deck. I haven't messed with it myself, but we have talked about using it because we'll have like a mic going into Zoom, and then that Zoom going into a mix, then that mix coming back out into the Zoom so they can hear it. And there's lots of like last minute like just jumps, and crews are getting smaller with virtual events. So like we're always going back and forth, and we've been trying to think of like good functions and little, I guess, shortcuts we could use on the Stream Deck. And everyone should check it out if you are watching this and you're a technician or you do streaming or anything audio visual.
Stream
It's
companion.
yeah, it's amazing. I do need to dive into vMix though.
Yeah.
I'm kind of ashamed to say like the little bit that I know about like
Yeah.
vMix at this point.
Well, I mean, if you think of OBS and Zoom combined, that's what vMix is kind of doing.
Oh,
So
okay.
all the stuff you'd have in OBS, very, very similarly laid out. I found no issues going between the two. And then you've got vMix Call or vCall, I can't remember what it called it, where you can just basically send someone a login code. They can log in on their iPhone, Mac, whatever web page, and
Yeah.
they've got a camera on. You can essentially zoom in, which is cool.
Nice. That is awesome. I'm definitely gonna need to jump into that. And I mean, with my the guy I'm working for, he basically explained like this whole thing as we are literally redeveloping an industry right now. Like, and it's going through that process. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of like programs coming through in and out. There's going to be a lot of gear coming through in and out. I'm sure every company is trying to be the next virtual event company right now. So I feel like it's a race to the top for everyone.
Yeah, man. Sadly, some of the big ones who only did like stadium arena tours and
Yeah.
stuff, they've got no video production stuff in house. I mean, the ones local to us have been selling their SD7s or putting them on
Mhm.
just to try and make some money. Obviously, they've been like have no events to make any money, so they've been trying to get some money.
Yeah.
They're kind of on a back foot to most like medium-sized companies, which kind of do everything around here, because obviously they've got all the video stuff. They've got
Mhm.
Macs even to do like
Yeah.
Zoom and QLab and everything. So it's crazy to see that there's a hierarchy that's changing.
Oh no, for sure. You're definitely seeing a lot of shifting. I feel like going on, and then like where I'm from, like I'm 30 minutes from Washington D.C.
Yeah.
and like a good few of the like like historic like venues and stuff, like 18th Street Lounge and stuff like that closed, which was like that was crazy when they announced that. Like my Facebook page like blew up with like just like tears and stuff. That was one of those places. A lot of like really big DJs from our area and stuff came through there. Like it's been intense. Like it's going to be crazy seeing what the industry does look like. I feel like at the end of this whole thing.
Yeah, man, definitely. I mean, in Manchester, we've had like the Deaf Institute and Gorilla, which are two, like 300 to 500 cap venues.
Mm-hmm.
They got closed, like went out of money and stuff, probably in March, and someone saved them in June, I think it was. And there was this massive celebration in Manchester just from the grassroots music.
Yeah.
Like touring acts come through there all the time and stuff. Some of my favorite venues, but it's just like heartbreaking to see that things are gonna sadly go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a rebirth. Hopefully it's a glorious one, but I guess only time will tell. I guess my final question before we get to like the fun part is so what, like, I know I've had to kind of build like habits and things to keep myself sane during this like crazy time. Like we're used to either being crazy busy or like slow season where there's nothing. That's like, and like usually slow season is like a month and a half, 2 months at most, like, but not really working from, what is it? Are we going on 8 or 9 months? I think.
Yeah, that's in March, and what we're in November now, which is like.
Yeah. So like, I've had to like find habits, and there's like certain things like I said, I do a bunch of yard work, house stuff, just try and keep my mind busy as much as I can. I went on a huge bender like the first 2 months when this started. So I had to pull back the reins a little bit to give my brain time to clear up and stuff like that. What are like 3 things that you could like kind of say you do that keep you going kind of during this crazy time?
So we have a Google Tasks list. It's basically like a list of things to do around the house, and we've got it that goes to a screen that me and the wife like put. So stupid things like take the bin out, do the recycling.
Yeah.
But I put things on there like go up in the loft and find blah blah blah, or do it. And just to have that list of like 20 or so things, and then each week just try and tick off one a day, let's say.
Yeah.
And what they are is a really good thing. So I mean, I look on the thing, it's just got like completed like 5,000 or something ridiculous now. Because I like put on there every week. I put on there take the bin out, and I'm like tick, hooray! Which like when you're in that depressed down mindset, you kind of need those small victories to look back on and be like, yes, we've done something productive today, even if it was like no shame in that. So I mean, just make a note of things. You can just tick it off on your phone. Don't need to throw it up anywhere else. Another thing, I bought an Apple Watch. Just got the Series 3, just like the cheapest one, at the probably June of lockdown, because of the exercise ring thing, just to make me get out the house, try and shut my rings. Yeah, exactly. So I've got 1 more hour and I've got 300 more calories to burn today. So I need to go and walk the dog or something, I guess. Like super useful for me to try and smash the rings every day and keep myself motivated rather than just being like, oh, I'm going to sit in front of it. Which I've definitely done. Something else. What else have I done? Yeah, I mean, just don't dwell on the fact that we're all sat at home. Use this time for training. I mean, there's things out there on YouTube. I mean, I've put stuff out there. Pooch and Chris Raybold have put out some really helpful videos for live sound guys. You've probably seen them.
Yeah.
And there's similar things out there from loads of different companies. Digico have put stuff out there. Smart have put a training course out there and stuff. And it's just really good to train yourselves up on things, and like the Dante and the networking stuff I said earlier, to realize that this is not the end of your career. I mean, I'm working for a delivery company that pays me minimum wage for the past 2 months, I think it is now, and I don't enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy driving around all day, but don't really enjoy the job or the paycheck. Just to have that mentality that this is not my life now. This is just kind of what's happened, and it's not my fault, not your fault. And just keep pressing on. You got to do what you got to do to pay the rent, pay the bills, see each other on the other side of it on a gig or something, I guess.
Yeah, no, that I think those are pretty much the same things I try and like do. I think though, me and my fiance need to adapt this Google Sheets thing, because she's always just telling me things I need to do, and they don't think I'm like.
Just like, wow, great, you've said it. When?
Yeah, like that. I think we might have to adapt that. Get a little family Google Sheet together for all my tasks. So I figure we'll end on like a high note and go over try and figure out if there's like some like slang or AV tech stuff that like is like different between the US and United Kingdom. So my first one that literally took me for a loop is one of the first companies I ever worked for. They always used to say, "I'm gonna go hit the head," and I've never heard it, but I guess it means going to the restroom. But they don't you don't say that very often. And I was like, hit the head, and I always thought it was confusing, and I never knew what it meant. And I know it's not an actual like technician thing, but these were technicians saying this to me. So
no, I mean, go for a piss. I mean, we've even had some funny ones over here, like unleash the sea monster and things like that. But yeah, I've not heard hit the head before. That's a new one. Yeah, I mean, go to the toilet, go to the bathroom, use the facilities.
Like those normal ones, you know. I catch myself saying hit the head now because I heard it so much for like the first like 6 months to a year. I thought it was like a thing all technicians said until I like worked for other companies, and then I was like, oh wait, so I'm just a weirdo now.
One of the texts says he's going to drop the kids off at the pool.
That's one I've heard before.
It's a good one, isn't it?
And any that pop into your head that you've heard, like maybe on tour or something, and you've been like, what are you asking for?
I mean, it's always a challenge to make people not shit on the bus, isn't it? So, I mean, I'm quite lucky in the respect that I haven't spent that much time on buses and stuff. I've kind of done the smaller events where I take a van to a gig, or I've turned up in my car and we've unloaded art into a venue kind of vibe. And had hotel rooms, which has been amazing because most of them have been the client's hotel or the same one as the venue, which is almost always a 4 or a 5 star. Amazing. So I spent far more time in them than on tour buses or anything. It's just different world, isn't it? But some fun ones. Come back to me.
Okay, let's see. I'm trying to think. All right, like I'm trying to think of something that we would say that like wouldn't necessarily be said in the United Kingdom. I probably should have came out with a list before I started this.
Right, you can edit it out. It's all good.
I'm sure there's the like XLR is called XLR, power is called power. Like, do you call it AC or power?
We normally call it 16 amp if it's a 16 amp cable. It's a 32
amp. That's something new. If I was on an event and someone was like, "Can you give me a 25-foot 16 amp?" I would be like, "Oh, well, I guess you wouldn't say foot either."
No, yeah, we use meters. So 5 meter, 10 meter, 15, 7, 25. But yeah,
that's extra weird to me actually, because I'm like, wait. Use meters and the numbers are all, oh man.
Like 5, 10, 15, 20. You know where you are.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's oh man, I don't know why I didn't think of that one actually. Like the most obvious one, the unit of measurement.
Yeah,
But have you ever had like an American on one of your tours or something and like you've mentioned like can you grab me the 5 meter cable and they've been like the what?
Oh,
Or do they have to do like measurements in their phone, like conversion, like feet to meter? Like
I mean, that's not just. I mean, we've had some just people that have never worked, like volunteers and stuff on festivals.
yeah.
Like, go get me the red colored end cable, please, because you know the red.
Yeah.
You have to,
Yeah,
like,
you got the labels by measurements.
yeah. So you'd have like green is 5, orange is 10, red is 20.
Yeah.
Um,
Smart. Very smart.
They get me 3 red XLRs or 3 red 16 amp or 3 red 32.
That's great.
Hopefully they come back with the right cable, but
Yeah. If not, you just send them back, you know. Well, sweet. Well, thanks for joining and thanks for coming on to COVID AV and also being the test dummy for like my very first like Zoom interview.
pleasure, man.
I definitely think we got some good stuff. Make sure that you follow him on his social media, which I will post at the end of the video, and watch all of his videos. Also, I feel like I would be doing a disservice if I didn't shout out DC Sound Op on this because both of us are contributors for the page. I haven't posted anything or had anything on DC Sound Op in a very long time. So this will be the first video in a while, but make sure you check out all of his videos, Dan Bamber's videos, mine, and we will see you on the next episode of COVID AV. Thanks.
Peace.
Dun, 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 dun.